Welcome back to the Metro on WDET. I'm Robin Vincent. What are the ways that we can stop harm before it happens? Detroit's Shot Stoppers Community Violence Intervention Program has been doing just that. By intervening in conflict, many community groups have reduced homicides in Detroit. Yesterday, in a nearly unanimous vote, Michigan lawmakers in the State House passed a $115 million annual public safety fund aimed to decrease violent crime in communities, with money going to community violence intervention programs. To understand how community violence intervention works, Tia spoke to Zoe Kennedy.
Our organization was started 10 years ago by our founder, Alea Harvey Quinn. She's a woman who is the child of two Black Panthers, and her father was incarcerated for 27 years, and she experienced something as a child of a man and a woman that experienced cycles of violence in the community. And we are in the 48228 Franklin Park and Warrendale community, also known in the philanthropic space as the Cody Ruich area.
Yes, indeedy. That is that's where I grew up. So I always love when we have you guys on the show because of the things that I've been able to see within that community, especially over the last 10 years, like you say, the growth, the development that's coming in small businesses and just the people in the community thriving there. So it's due to the work that Force Detroit's been doing, the Cody Rouge community group there as well. Yes. So, props to you all who have been on the grounds. But you all develop relationships with the community, which allows you to work closely with the residents and allows you all to have these relationships. Can you talk about developing and nurturing these relationships throughout that area?
Yes. We started out with a strategy of doing participatory research with the community, figuring out what the community needs were. We try to stay focused on the social determinants of health. In that, to address the problem, we had to deal with the population that was closest to the problem, or the population that they said was the problem. Even in that, as we go forward, we don't get here without those individuals who are struggling with this deciding not to engage in perpetuating cycles of violence. Also, I like to say we look to engage, and we are engaged in our community beyond just dealing with those individuals who are impacted by violence. The whole community is, even when it comes to the businesses, the homeowners, making sure we practice cooperative economics, making sure our ecosystem, our philanthropic ecosystem, our grassroots ecosystem, that our dollar circulates throughout our ecosystem to have a thriving, sustainable community. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you talked about those dollars, those American Rescue Plan dollars. Well, those American Rescue Plan dollars run out this year. And if there's nothing sustainable there for these organizations who have came into these communities, as other organizations have come in the past, that funding won't be there, so you won't have that same level of engagement. So we have to make sure this year that we're advocating for sustainable resources. It's a bill, 4605, 4606, that was supposed to be voted in the legislation that will fund our work in perpetuity. That means it will fund our work as long as Michigan is a state, and we will be able to operate and function like other departments and agencies in public safety.
And that's the perfect segue, because my next question and my next add-on was going to be about, number one, you guys have to have something that's going to maintain you economically after funds run out. That's just something that you guys are going to have to worry about. But as well, worrying about the connection with the Detroit Police Department and connecting with them and fostering that relationship as well, especially as you go on and you want to expand your presence within the city of Detroit, making it a more permanent presence within the city of Detroit. Can you talk about fostering that relationship with the Detroit Police Department?
Yes. One, we have to maintain a healthy balance. It has to be proximity is a thing. So our work, we can allow the relationship with that department to compromise our work, and we can't allow our relationship with community to compromise their work. So it's a balance of respect. We respect DPD. DPD actually allows us or supports our strategies. So they're not going to get involved or interrupt in our methods, and they also offer support. They're part of our methods at times. If we're doing a block party or something, we will call for that deterrence. Like, man, we need a squad car out here just to deter any type of conflict. Even though we have our relationships, you can never be too safe. And oftentimes, we're not the only ones in the community. So our elders, they trust DPD, and we want to foster that trust because when it comes to constitutional law enforcement, I think our city does an outstanding job at it. Chief Bettison or interim Chief Bettison is known in the community, like the grassroots community. He's a community chief. It's not like it is in other cities. So even when it comes to the population we serve, they understand that when we are around law enforcement, we are at the table because we have legitimate power in being community leaders.
Mm-hmm. And before, we transition here a little bit, but I do want to build on this, that having that voice, having that seat at the table, and the importance of bringing the community's voice to these tables. And then the importance, like you said, of balancing that all out, because you have some folks who are very much in support of the Detroit Police Department. You have some folks who are just staunchly against the Detroit Police Department. Mm-hmm. So how do you balance all of those feelings and emotions out when you're trying to take this information to the seats of these tables?
When you're operating in integrity, you have to be unapologetic about that, right? I'm a man who, in my younger years, was involved and engaged in violence, and I understand what type of impact it has on community, and I understand my lens isn't the only lens. I'm not the only community member or community leader. So some people may have a different stance and a different approach. Our thing is to educate community on its multiple approaches towards responding and addressing what they're seeing in community. And you have to respect that as long as it's not harming community. I can't go argue with someone about how they respond and expect someone to embrace or acknowledge how I respond to it or address it. So my thing is, one, operate in integrity, right? We're not going to compromise our credibility. We're not about to tell on nobody. We're not trying to solve nothing. We are there to encourage you to do better with your life, discourage you from harming another community member, and to offer or give you access, further access, greater access to resources that can add to your quality of life. So it's about standing in integrity and being unapologetically committed to community, not committed to nobody's agenda, not committed to no one's trauma, not committed to anyone's perspective of how they feel. No, we want what's best for community, and we understand our role in community. We are that space, that alternative. We are the ones that you could say, man, I can trust them. I could talk. They're not going to do this. Police are held to a certain standard. When they see certain stuff, they held to a certain standard. And you need someone that's held to a strict code, right? I'm not pulling anybody over.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not about to do that. So you need people to do that, but you need people who will just spend all day with someone, building that relationship, to have influence, to intervene in conflicts.
That was Zoe Kennedy of Force Detroit. It and other community violence intervention organizations got city funding to continue their work.
Metro is hosted by Robin Vincent and Tia Graham. The show is produced by Sam Corey, Kerry Jr. II, and Jack Philbrand. Our senior producer is David Lyons. Our engineer is Nate Bender. Music and creative audio production by Sam Bobian. The Metro is a production of WDET, a listener-supported service of Wayne State University. This is 1019 WDET-FM, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation.